Oh, I gotta hit the button. There.
Uh-huh.
What's up, Don? Oh. What's going on in here?
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. We interrupt this program to bring you a news bulletin. Check it out.
wook+mornings.
Welcome back to wook+, your home for not ready for prime time independent music journalism. I am Kevin, joined by Amanda and T.
You're making me laugh today.
Oh man,
That's good. I like that.
I had myself a time. I will say that seeing went and saw Tedeschi Trucks band, and oh man, just I'm amazed. I walked out of there like wow. And the weird thing is, I got on the train, didn't smoke any weed. I had a cup of herbal tea at the diner up the street before. Didn't drink anything. Went in and different kind of appreciation. I know I love the other thing, but this was very interesting. Great little diner up the street. They gave a free glass of wine if you bought dinner.
Wow.
How do you go wrong with that?
I don't know.
Times are tough in New York City, I guess. But anyway, musically, simply fantastic. And I really began to think, Mr. E, what's up? I began to think that how professional they were, how tight it was, how well-oiled machine they were, all those pieces up there. And besides what they do, even beyond the sound of it, which speaks to me on all kinds of levels, I really would rather go see that. I want to see a show. I want to see a professional thing. So they do Midnight in Harlem 3 out of 4 nights. You know, whatever, as opposed to seeing something that, you know, smaller bands have a thing. You know, a bar band has its place, but there are some bands that are just falling apart in real time, it seems like, all the time. And it just, I don't know if I want to invest myself in that when there's something like Tedeschi Truck's new album. I suggest you both find it on YouTube, wherever it is. You can get it free on the streaming platforms. It's brilliant, just simply fantastic. More people are going to talk about the album cover than they are about the music, probably, because it looks AI generated, but the guy is a comic book artist. It's just the way he draws. And I will say, check out Hero. And there's my monologue at the top. How are you two doing?
Oh, you know, I am so glad it's Friday. I'm going to leave it there. I'm just going to say very, very happy that I'm talking to both of you today and that it's Friday.
T, why couldn't you go an extra 15 minutes? Come on, man. You could have fudged it. You could have done a 15-minute Neil Young minute.
I know. Well, you know, by the time Pete and I were done, we were like, at the top, we were like, we're just gonna go 15 minutes, you know, or so. He's like, all right, yeah, that's fine. He's like, I don't have a whole bunch. And then it was funny because we were talking, you know, beforehand, and I'm not usually the one that goes live. So then when we went live, we came in and he was already on screen. I was like, oh crap. Hey, what's up, Pete? Like, I forgot to bring you on. I forgot to take you off before we went on. So I was like, we're already here. So let's just start talking. So we didn't really have to do anything at the top. We just jumped into it. And then all of a sudden, next thing I knew, it was like 30 minutes after. And I was like, oh, we might as well just go stall it for another 15 and then just call it. Because then, and the things you put on the set list, I didn't have any info on. Like, none of that stuff I had any articles on. I was like, what is all of this? Like, the dead rounded thing. I was like, I don't have any info on this. So I just touched it with Pete, and I was like, all right.
There was something going on with a dead family related thing, but I don't remember.
It worked out though. I mean, it was fine. We didn't really, the chat was, it was like 20 people watching, and they were like talking to Pete. So everyone was more engaged with him and stuff. I'm like, oh, tell Pete. So it was fine. It was all good. I had fun. It's a great guy to talk to. Got it.
And he got the word out about the fan art shows. Did he do a lineup drop?
He did a lineup drop. More's coming. It's really cool. I mean, I got to tell you, if you missed it, go back and watch it. But just a quick rundown. All 3 weekends, fan art is doing something on the Friday night of the Fish shows, or the Friday afternoon of the Fish shows at Brooklyn Bowl. And it's really cool because Brooklyn Bowl is also the home of all the after shows all weekend. So you go in the afternoon, hit up fan art. They're doing some stand-up comedy for the first time in the upstairs area at Brooklyn Bowl. So he's got some comics coming in.
He didn't call me. So why didn't he call me?
I know, right? I should have suggested. It's not done yet. They're still adding people, Kev. You can get in if you want.
Funny looking, at least.
Kev, stand up.
Why don't we do a hard transition here? Because you mentioned after shows, and there's this band that I know is one of your favorites. Taper Choice had some news. What's the word, man?
I know. Breaking news. I know. I was going to try and get Llama. Llama showed up, actually, speaking of, the other night in the chat. And I was like, dude, come on. And he's like, I
Right.
have that connection. But I was going to try and get Llama on yesterday, but he's working to do a quick microdose. We need to do one. But yeah, big breaking news. Dave Harrington is taking a hiatus from Taper's Choice. I know we were talking backstage in the green room before this about bands breaking up and what was going on with our interview with Alan and Disco Biscuits, but another one that nobody really saw coming. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, I talked to Alex
Personal
last
reasons.
night. We're gonna try and-
He cited personal reasons, which we've been seeing a lot of this. A lot of
he
bands
does
are,
have a
you know,
baby. He had a baby a year or two ago, so he's got a kid at home. He's in I can't even count the amount of other side projects he has going on right now. I mean,
Dark
the guy
Side
plays,
is his main, right? Isn't Dark Side so his main?
Dark Side is
thing?
main, yeah. And then he has all these like trios, including one with Zach Tenario, who is the keyboardist in Taper's Choice, that he plays with a lot lately too. And they do these one-off gigs all over town. I mean, Dave plays probably 2 to 3 nights a week in LA with different forms of bands and different groups. So the guy is a worker, and I know he likes to cut albums, and he's constantly releasing new albums, which are fantastic. So I know he's very, very busy, and I think this was probably the one thing that he could or needed to step back from. But I'm sad. I mean, Dave's a great guy. I'll continue to see him and his solo shows, and we'll see how CJ fits in with Taper's Choice. It should be a fun tour regardless. They'll still shred and be awesome.
I was going to ask you, can Taper's Choice continue as the same project without Dave there as the foundational creative voice?
Yeah, I think so. I think they will too. I think they've already been joking on Instagram that was 1.0 and they're heading into 2.0 now. It's Taper's 2.0 and the Dave legacy and the Dave years will always be there. And you know, like I'm sure he still wants to be a part of the larger universe, so I'm sure he'll still be around. And I joked like the reunion tour will be epic when it happens. So, and I talked to Bleecker yesterday, Kev, and he wants to come on after they have one last show with Dave at the Big Ears Festival next weekend, and then that'll be his last show. And then Alex was saying he'd like to come on and talk about Dave leaving and the upcoming tour of the Eggy before tour kicks off. So we're going to try and get him on and maybe one of the other guys to come on and talk about all that. So we'll get a little bit more information from him then. But crazy, man. I mean, it just goes to show you life happens fast, man. Like you never know, right? Like, I mean, it reminded me a lot of Fish on a different level. Like one day they're there and then the next day it's gone. And you're like, oh shit, it's gone. Like
one thing that I thought, the guy's name CJ Twanaka.
Yeah, I can never pronounce his last name.
Is filling in, but he's indie. Dave comes from the more indie experimental worlds where a lot of it is studios and, like you said, one-off gigs. And you join a jam band, and all of a sudden you have this touring schedule, and you have these expectations from the people coming to see you, which can be a lot to dump on something.
And I know Dave's music
is
hard.
Yeah,
I don't want to say experimental, but he does a lot of crazy shit with the guitar and plays a lot of jazz trios and plays a lot of like that style. So the jam world, I mean, he's in it and does it, but it always seemed like the odder fit for him to come into that from Dark Side. Like you listen to Dark Side, you're like, that is intense, awesome music. But then you're like, it's so opposite spectrum from Taper's Choice and jam music where, you know, so it's just, I always thought it was this massive creative, it's amazing you can run both spectrums, but so it makes sense. And yeah, we'll see, Kev. It'll be interesting to see if they go after that same kind of sound or like same kind of style with the lead guitars, or if they find somebody a little bit more in the jam world and the jam sort of context of things and take it that way. So it'll be interesting. I'm here for it though. I'm here for it for both sides. Here for it to see what happens with Dave and here for it to see what happens with the Choice. So all good.
I feel like I know a lot more musicians these days that, well, maybe this isn't new. Maybe I'm just noticing it more, who that side project, additional kind of lineups that they're with. And like you said, playing multiple nights a week. And, you know, I think for some people, that's the way to make it the full-time gig. So they don't need to have the day job thing anymore. But then I think about all the administrative stuff that there's just got to be a lot on the side that we don't see for people who are doing that on their own, really. You know, they're managing their own calendar. Kevin made me think of, remember DJ Williams? We would talk to him, and he's someone who I think really loves, he just has a brain that enjoys organization and planning. So he'd always be like, oh yeah, no, I'm good. I love doing this kind of stuff. But most people probably don't.
Some people aren't built for it.
You know,
exactly.
it's a lot to think about.
Well, I think once you bring a kid into it and, you know, your home life and touring, we always talk about touring, you know, they just came off of a fairly large tour and
touring's rough, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
Logistics have to just be a pain in the ass, like just from renting the van, even, you know what I mean? Like all of that, all the way down the line has to be a pain in the ass. And when you're playing shows 2 or 3 nights a week in LA in your hometown and your family's here, it's easy to be like, I'd rather just keep doing this than like deal with having to like go off for a month and leave the family. So I get it. And
this is something that Amanda has been digging into. You want to do a little pitch there, Amanda? I'm thinking Sunday
sure.
we'll run that.
Yeah. So you know, I think in so many conversations, and we know this, you know, that idea of what it means to be a touring musician, it's always changing. It's a living thing, but, you know, seeing more and more artists, I think, being honest about it, about what it's really like. To me, that's what feels different these days is the comfort with being able to say, you know, this is what it's really like. This is what we have to deal with, the financial part, the physical toll. We see a number of bands that have been around for years, either taking breaks or like what we're talking about right now. You know, people have to evaluate if they want to do this at the moment. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to dig in a little more specifically to that aspect of the industry, and not just from a jam band perspective, also from the perspective of venue owners that are booking all kinds of acts, you know, small business owners, people that work with clients, with artists, trying to help them navigate.
Fighting the machine.
Right. Well,
doing it for the people.
Okay. And actually, I'll just take a quick detour on that. I just saw the other day, I hadn't really been paying too much attention, but Madison House, revered, you know, music management company that back in the day I was obsessed with and wanted to work with. They were String Cheese, you know, they did all this stuff. Right. They were bought by another company. There is no Madison House anymore. End of an era. And these things happen, but it just is another sign that the industry, it shifts, it moves.
It's becoming one company's going to own it all. And then you're going to have the guys out in the streets, like plugging into the street poles.
We're all subsidiaries, each one of us.
That's where I'm going to be, out in the street at the street pole with those guys.
So yeah, our first chat in relation to this was with Joe Marcinek, who we just love Joe. I mean, he's the best and he's so honest. And I think just really a great person to start this series. And then we'll be just looking for other people to talk to. And I'm paying more attention now to when people are posting about this specifically. So there if anybody has an idea.
So look for that Sunday, probably around 7:00 we'll do it. So you can watch it after you have your Sunday dinner. To wrap up Taper's Choice, mutual respect, no drama. This is the way you do someone leaving the band. You put out the 2 statements and that's it. There's nothing there. You do get one more chance, March 26th, a couple days from now, at the Big Ears Festival. That'll be your last chance to see Dave with Taper's Choice for the time being. And like we said, CJ is going to be replacing Dave. I'm not going to try his last name again until I dig up the pronunciation and say the man's name right. So.
And it just shows you, man, like go see your bands now. Go do the things you want to do now, because you never know when it's
we got CJ and CT now, right?
I know. Yes. Yes.
This is absolutely fantastic. So I don't know how to pronounce this either, because there's no U after the Q, but Qobuz, is that how I'm going to pronounce that? Is taking a human first stance in direct response to the explosion of AI generated music flooding streaming platforms. So they say that music is fundamentally human expression, and mass AI production threatens artists' livelihoods, listener experience, and the integrity of the music ecosystem. Love that.
Okay.
Yeah, big, huge. And I think they pay better than anyone. The problem is I had never heard of them before I saw this article.
Yeah. That is that. And that's going to be the challenge is, you know, how to try to lift up and grow, you know, people that want to do things like that so it can actually be sustainable. It's not an easy task, but I respect it so much.
Right.
It's tough, right? It seems like we're just, I don't know. It's such an odd time with this. Like, I mean, some people lean into it. Some people are learning how to utilize it. You know, like the Netflix deal that just bought Ben Affleck's AI company, but like the whole thing that he programmed it to is to like be able to help in the production process and not fully take over your job. You know what I mean? So like there's these, it's so great. Like the lines that are divided between yes and no, and then the whole gray area that's in there where it's like, well, yes, but there's like this that it's good for and this that it's good for. So it's just such I don't know where it's all going to settle and how, but it's cool to see that there's at least sides, especially when it comes to art like this. Like, I mean, the AI generated music is,
we're at a turning point, T, man. We are at a turning point with the industry.
Completely.
34% of new music uploaded daily to streaming platforms, 50,000 tracks is AI generated. 1 out of 3 things uploaded are AI generated. Noise without soul.
Yikes. I mean,
and it takes
some
away
point. Yes,
and that takes away from the other music, right? Like that takes away from people who actually put the love, sweat, tears, and pain into writing
and to have their shit stolen
composing.
And repackaged.
Right, at the worst, and even just you know, trying to survive in the midst of all that. That's just a challenge.
Yeah,
it more stats
really
out. 20% of streaming revenue is going to be AI tracks if it continues by 2028, and up to 60% of catalog revenue in some segments, like electronic dance music and stuff like that. Stuff that the hardest stuff for me to tell is whether someone sat there and looped a track themselves or it was created with AI. That's the hardest one for me to.
This kind of reminds me of like when the whole DJ revolution kind of happened and EDM happened and people were like, that's not music, it's just beats. And as a DJ, you're not doing anything. You're just standing there playing other people's music.
You're a human.
But then
it does kind of remind me of that debate, right? Like maybe DJs will get a little more
when it first happened, but I feel like these days though, it expanded out though, where DJs became so much more creative with the music and were able to sort of like create their own tracks and create cool mashups and things like that. So it kind of became its own art form and its own creative. Sure, you're sampling other stuff, but you're still in creation of what that sample.
It's like
you know
a
what I mean? So
it's like when an artist makes a collage with pieces of newspaper.
Right. So there's still creativity happening there. You're not a robot or a bunch of numbers in a sequence spitting something out. There was still a human element there. And yes, I'm sure the human still has to be the one to press enter or whatever to make the AI do it, but it's still a machine making it. And it's just, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I wonder if maybe this is me being totally naive, but you know, I come to this also from my day job, which is ed tech, and researching that. I feel like there might be a little bit of a course correct coming in the big picture, because even today there's this article about, you know, Meta, and we're seeing this now kind of regularly with these AI agents going off and in some cases telling the human workers, the human engineers to do something that is completely wrong. Right. So, and these stories, when they come out from these huge companies that you would think would be kind of impervious to all this stuff, I wonder if it will help make people just think a little bit, not to not use these things, but, you know, really be a little more like thoughtful in how they're doing these things. The music part, I don't know, because that is a massive number of tracks.
Moonshine Delight, a shout out for the Captain Chesapeake picture there.
Totally.
God, that man made me who I am. His after school show, he told me it was okay to be weird. But what you said, man, Amanda and I have been talking about this since 22, that the first thing to go are going to be commercials and people who do movies and stuff like that. And exactly like you said, it's all just gone. And it's sad because it really goes to what Amanda said. There's no soul. A computer has no empathy, is what it is. A computer can't be a moral agent. It has no ethics. So how can it create art, which is a reflection of that inner self.
It's a lot like the AI generated voices too, Kev. Like voiceover,
Creepy,
same kind of thing. Voiceover talents is gone, and now you hear so many commercials with the same AI voice and the same thing, and just not even like everything. But it has leaked into mainstream because you see actual broadcast commercials with it now.
That is true, and it's too perfect. So when I had my old radio show, and I would edit like crazy, I'd get rid of all my ums and uhs. These days, I would let a lot more of that stuff stay in because it's real, and I would not focus on that as much as I used to feel like I had to.
When I first started editing, Amanda, one of the golden rules was never have a jump cut. Like everything needs a transition. Everything has to, because it's too jarring. The audience can't handle it. And now, because of social media, everything, like there's not even transitions. Everything's
That's what it is.
cut.
Life is a jump cut.
Yeah, even people talking on the screen, you see them all the time pressing the button to like pause it and then come back and then say their words and pause it and come back. It's all it's insane to me. I'm like, my God, we've gotten rid of we've gotten rid of this because it's just easier now, and people just it's just so you lose. And to that point, to all of these points, you lose things with that. You lose, like Kev, you always say the moral agent, but you use the human side. You lose the emotion. Listening to those AI VOs, not that you ever really cared about like a Shantex commercial or whatever, but you hear a human voice in it, and you're like, this drives it. Your body, your reaction is different than when you hear a robot voice, and you're like, this is just I don't know. It's
something's not right. It says that something's not right with the product to me too.
It's like them replacing all the street lights with the LED lights from the old, whatever it was. It had like that nice glow, the nice orange glow, and now everything is like the bright. It just the world, man. What are we?
And doing? LED headlights. Don't even get me.
Oh, I can't do that. Just drive like this. There's new street lights near me. I just have to say this, and I honestly feel like I'm kind of in a club. Some of them are purple.
Yeah.
Actually, don't mind the purple.
But like, it'd be nice to have a whole street like that. But you miss it. Like I always read like all these things about movies and why they don't look the same. The last movie with those lights that did it was Drive. That was filmed in LA, and it still has that aesthetic. And you miss it. I mean, it's changed so much. So everything's changing, man. And I hate being old man on the lawn. Like get off my lawn, like yelling at clouds. But look at what we're going through. Like it's a fundamental shift.
We have the experience though, where we knew a world where when you rode your bike, no one knew where you were. Now you ride your bike, it has GPS hooked up to it.
Well, did you see that guy on the French aircraft carrier that was in total stealth mode and has been hiding as it's going around the world right now? And some dude on the ship went for a jog on the top and put one of his apps on, and the GPS located him, and so now everybody found the ship, and it was like all over the news yesterday. They're like, this dude on the ship found the Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier because a sailor on it turned on his. Yeah, so
yeah, that's
so lame. He's like, I got to get on Blue Sky.
It's like I gotta track my fitness is what it was, because he went for a jog and he's like, I gotta track how like my health, and then that thing like it's so
More of the story. Choose your workouts very carefully. Maybe don't do it.
I work out walking and I walk and don't have any exercise.
I think the moral is, Amanda, like you hear so many times, is put the phone down.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
You don't need to turn it on.
All right, let's wrap up Qobuz. Another thing that I really love they threw out is human curation only. The editorial, the playlist, the reviews, everything 100% human made, and the Discovery prioritizes that there's human editors, there's trusted curated metadata, and they have a bunch of anti-fraud measures. We'll see how it goes, but man, they want AI labeling standards, which I think we should have to have. If they're going to put a sticker on an album that says it might make my kid want to rub one out listening to Dirty Nikki or whatever her name was, Darling Nikki, then they should put a sticker on anything that's AI that says this is AI Chris app.
Absolutely. Oh, you should definitely know going in. I think they have to have warning labels, or like at least, something that tells you this music was created by robots and not the cool Daft Punk robots, actual robots.
Yeah.
Something you threw out, T. Billboard. You want to tell us a little bit about what England has going on that you saw on Billboard? The touring thing?
Who, me or Amanda?
Did Amanda throw that? I thought you threw that out.
Did I?
Anyway, there is a thing in England right now where it's called the Live Trust, and Harry Styles, Sam Fender, Coldplay have all.
Right.
Do you want to take it?
I don't remember where I put the article though.
you said it on your phone. So they have $125,000 of money available, right, for the Artist Touring Fund. So emerging bands can apply for up to $7,000 to help cover their touring costs and keep independent music clubs alive. So,
yes,
I love that. And I know there's some conditions with it. You know, they've got to play certain headline shows with the whatever capacity, but it feels like it is really geared toward those bands, exactly like what you were just saying, which is the pipeline, right, for keeping the industry going. Because you cannot just have the Katy Perry, Harry, like there's only so much room for them.
There can only be one Harry Styles.
I know, which is cool because there's not that many jackets with like fur collars out there, so he's got to have his, you know.
I love the guy. I've been a Harry Styles aware of this man since my kids were into One Dimension back in the olden times.
Actually, I do have a really good story. So a friend of mine, she's a bari sax player. Her name's Leah Concialdi. She actually does PR and music stuff. I would like to have her talk to us. She played with Antibalas for years. She lives in LA. Actually, she lives, out by UT. And she was part of Harry Styles' band for Coachella at some point and played with him a couple times and had nothing but awesome things to say about that.
He's like a great guy. Good for him. It's not my cup of meat, but whatever. Something else that ain't my cup of meat is Afroman. I don't know what's up with that. But I will say good for him that he did what he did, which I guess was his rap talked about doing certain love acts with certain cops and other things because they raided his house. And then the cops tried to sue him for $4 million, saying that the video humiliated them and caused public harassment. So whether I like him or not, good for him for standing up in court and having the jury be like, yeah, screw them. This is, that's what happened there.
Well, but watching those testimonies were pretty just ridiculous. Watching them, it reminded me so much of Kyle Rittenhouse when Rittenhouse was on trial and did the fake crying every time they talked. Like the cops were the same. Like put on the music and the lady's like, "Oh God, the stress of him singing about me."
I mean, I'm sure it was stressful. What I don't remember is, did that woman have a chance to talk about how they got there and why she's crying about it? But first, I'd say I had forgotten that he's the because I got high guy.
Oh, yeah.
So we got to start out with a little respect. Number one,
right?
Excellent tune.
Yeah, right. And we'll give his backstory a little bit, who he was, who he is.
For me, it goes down to anything. If I did something stupid in public and someone stuck it in a video, I would not go after them and sue them. I'd be like, yeah, I did something stupid.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I do stuff every day, so and it's usually on film, so that's a whole.
Yeah, Mr. He smoked with him once in his hometown. Look at that.
Oh, nice.
I think that if nothing else, maybe little by little, these kinds of cases become a cautionary tale for cops. I mean, it would take a lot of them. You know what I mean? But
I don't know.
I don't even see it as taking advantage of a situation. I see it as you got fucked over. They stole money from you. They had no right to be there in the first place. They forfeit a lot of their liberty to be there. And so
and then the whole thing of why do you go after it? I mean, I don't know.
That to me, I was shocked that became a thing, that the officers thought that they had enough to go on. But that maybe shows you the mentality, right, of looking at maybe current state of affairs and thinking, oh yeah, we can totally get this guy.
Current political climate. Yeah. Anyway, there it goes. Zach Bryan. What do you guys know about Zach Bryan?
Not a whole bunch.
Yeah, not a whole lot. I was gonna say he's one of those.
He's a country guy.
He seems to
Yeah.
just pop up with shit, but I never know.
Right. He's into Kerouac. He
Yep.
brought the manuscript scrolls. The original conscientious type drafts of On the Road and Dharma Bums.
On the
And
scrolls, on the typed out scrolls.
yeah,
He got
Like
I watched
millions
it
and millions of
from,
dollars, right? Over $10 million, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He did it at the auction, the Ursay auction he bought them from. I was
Yeah.
watching it. I actually watched when he bought those. I didn't realize it was him that bought
did
it.
we do
but
it
I was-
live? Was that the
Huh?
one we had live?
Yeah. That was we put it up for day 3, but I think his was day 1 or day 2.
Right.
I think it was day 1 that he bought this. Yeah.
Right. And so
But yeah,
he's
12
also bought a
million.
church in Kerouac's hometown, and he wants to make that into a center celebrating the author's legacy.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It's awesome.
Absolutely
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, because
It's awesome.
So I don't know. I mean, clearly this guy must be extremely successful, and I don't know that world. But in addition to the purchase of the Kerouac stuff, right around the same time, I think, which is I know just recently, I think he bought, or some entity related to him bought, a townhouse in New York City for like $13 million. So, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
beautiful.
surprised it was him. And he bought, I mean, he didn't just, what's cool, Kev, is like you said, he didn't just buy the one scroll to have. He bought like a collection of stuff that he wants to then not give back, but basically put up for the family and for this
So you can
museum or
say.
whatever for people to see. I think it's fantastic. And that's exactly what we need when people buy these types of artifacts, especially like these kind of inspirations. Because like even Wild Kansas, like On the Road was my guiding light for so many people. Like it was such an important novel and all of his writing and all of that. So it's important that it's still out there and people can like go see it and look at it and be inspired. I think it's really cool and good for him for doing it that way. That's awesome.
It has a lame name, the Jack Kerouac Center. It's gotta have disembodied or souls or something attached to the end of that. Lowell, Massachusetts, the church is the Saint Jean Baptiste Church, and man, he's gonna have exhibitions, performance spaces, classrooms, archives. I mean, cultural preservation has become, to go back to everything else we've been talking about, is one of the most important things you can do now. Handwriting stuff, actually typing something instead of on a typewriter instead of a computer, or having a guitar and recording it on a cassette tape.
Well, and it's a good reminder also, just in general, that people are a lot more than the label that they get attached to country music, right? I mean, it's way more than that. And that's something that I try to remember all the time, right? Is just like we say, everybody knows each other in the industry. People have depths of their love for all kinds of cultural things that, may not think about. I love it though. Yeah. And that the whole Kerouac thing, I always think about how somebody like Kerouac, his work shows up in so many different places in quiet ways. Also, that's where Railroad Earth got their name. October and the Railroad Earth came from that. Todd Schaefer's huge. You would love it. Huge poetry guy, literature guy. So things like that are just pervasive, but we don't always think about it.
Right. It's amazing how much poetry and poets and writers have affected culture. You think about like someone like T.S. Eliot. Everyone who wrote a word after him was affected by that man. And Kerouac, everyone who writes to this day on some level owes a debt to him and what he did, because he tore down the conventions. When we talked to who'd we talk to? The Beats, about the Beats and all that. Dennis. Anyway, I'm not thinking, my brain is just not working. But anyway, we talked to him about the Beats and all that and what they did. I'm not that huge a fan of the Beats. They're a little narcissistic. Why don't we just put it that way? I am going to find this guy's name because it's driving me crazy. It's like right there.
I love it when that happens.
This is what you call vamping.
Vamp.
Right. Dennis McNally.
I was going to say McNally because that's the only dentist that I know that sounds right after that name, but I wasn't sure.
And I was thinking about, I had just read, I was reading up, getting my head in the right place for the next story there for a second. So that's why. So there's a foreshadowing for you. But to go back to the larger point of just how that and something like, you know, you had Walt Whitman and then you had Allen Ginsberg. Ginsberg obviously is a huge debt to the just spouting off for pages and pages. Hal is a crazy thing to read, and it's narcissistic there, but it again affected everything after it. And AI, I'll just throw out that using AI to do any of this stuff is going to destroy that for the future generation.
Yeah. I have a book, Songwriters on Songwriting, that I've had for decades. It's one of my favorite books. And it's just these quick little vignettes from all different kinds of songwriters, Bryan Eno. I mean, it's a huge range. And they just talk really openly about why they do what they do and how they do it. And so much of it, I mean, it's so personal, right? And like, yeah, I think about that a lot. It's that element, and you just can't really recreate it. But I think they would even admit it's the messy parts that make it what it is, you know?
And it's again what T loves me saying, the moral agent.
Yeah. And I find it fascinating just listening to them talk about that process. Volume does a lot of songwriter roundtables, different shows, different venues and different things throughout the week that have these things. And there's one that's on every week. And it's just interesting. And the guy that does it, you know, interviews like up and coming sometimes songwriters and stuff. And last week he had a couple younger women on talking, and it's just fun to listen to their processes. Well, yeah, they were young. They were definitely like, I was like, wow, how much? And it's funny because listening to it, I was like, how much experience can you really have? Because they're talking about like, you know, their inspirations for writing, and it's funny to listen to some of, you know, now of course there's the breakups but it's funny. One girl was like, I don't know. Sometimes when I'm just like bored or like don't have any inspiration, I'll scroll Instagram and see what my friends are up to or see what they're doing. And maybe one picture will like grab me of them doing something. And I'll be like, oh, why wasn't I invited to that or something? And I'll write a song about being jealous of like, you know, or something. It was just funny listening to Christian. But I was like, it's funny to use social media for that, or, you know what I mean? Because we're always talking about inspiration. You're like, now it's a funny thing that you can get online and do that. And so it's really interesting to listening to where it comes from. And one of the things I picked up, Kev, was like, they usually all say the same thing, that the pain is where the songs are, as more so than the joy is where the songs are. So like, you know, and one of them was talking about, I went through a rough breakup and it had been a little while and I decided I wanted to write about that. And she's like, the hard part is having to go back into that trauma and relive some and to get that out. And she's like, that's a painful process.
But that's where you get closure.
But she's like, but what comes out of it, can be
for sure. Not to get too personal, but I just will say, because I don't know if people can relate to this, I have always been a technical writer, news writer, not on the creative side. My creativity was that other kind of writing, journalism stuff. I love that. Only one time in my life have I ever really felt compelled to journal or do poetry in that kind of way. And it was a really tough time. And honestly, in the middle of all of that, I would have this thought like, I'm doing it. Like, this is what happens. Oh my God. Like, I would take a step back. But yeah, thinking about it now, or if I were to go back and look at some of that stuff, it would bring me right back. But I get it. It's funny. It took me a long time to really experience that for myself. But I get it. I do get it, you know?
The writer's maxim is write what you know. And we're going to let Hay take us into our next thing there.
Perfect segue.
First Mo show. Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Nice. We love it. I'm glad. That sometimes the jams aren't that insane, but they played St. Patrick's Day. I'm assuming maybe that's the show you were at or one of them. And they did Dropkick Murphys. I'm shipping up
and
to
some
Boston.
Supertramp too.
And Supertramp, bloody well right.
Love that
one-offs. I don't think you're going to get them again, but you know, good for them. Dropkick Murphys to me says Boston Celtic punk. I mean, you got the Cars, you got, you know, whatever band the guy from Talking Heads came from that did that Roadrunner song. But yeah, for me, Dropkick Murphys, good for them.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's a great cover. It's a good one.
Yeah. Good for Mel. I'm
I
glad
love
that
it.
they're out there living their best life. They're another band that seems professional and they have it together. You know,
Mhm.
they go out there, they do what they do. They're not playing the hugest places, but they take it seriously and they respect their fans and they care what their fans are thinking, which maybe
Yeah.
goes to how much, if you're paying for a ticket, should the artist care what you think? Or should they, you know, try to do stuff? I say yes. I'm paying $100 to go see Fish. I think
Yeah.
you take into consideration what, as a fan, we want.
Feel good about that in whatever way, you know. I think what impresses me about Mo, and I mean that's a band, oh my gosh, seeing them forever. They have made it through really difficult times, multiple
Yeah.
major moments that would have been,
Yeah,
you know, and just different things. And they've really done it gracefully. And that has impressed me
and they've
because
written about it too.
exactly, they have not shied away from it, but they have also there's still, it's a band first somehow through all of that. I don't know how they've done that. I think it's because of who they are, their character, probably.
They're good people.
Yeah.
They're human. They're moral agents.
They're moral agents. Kev, I want to segue off of what you just said, though, as far as like fans getting what they want, or like, you know, playing service to the fans. And there was an interesting thing I sent you guys. It started with an interview, and actually I sent the full interview is on YouTube. But there's a segment of it where the guy from All American Rejects talks. I think it was down. Was it South? It was something that he was at over the last weekend, and they're starting up a thing that's called Playhouse.band. And his whole premise is he wants to be able to unite artists with the fans and sort of the venues. Whereas if you want a band that you want to see, or the band wants to play somewhere or whatever, they'll throw it out there. And once all the fans, or once the tickets not necessarily sell out, but once there's sort of a demand for it or whatever, and they see it, they'll put the show together and do it. So on the website, you can go, and there's like two options. You can either hit play a show, which is you like putting up wanting to play a show, or host a show if you want to be a venue or a house or something that hosts a show. And what's interesting is these guys are the ones that play bowling alleys and backyards, and they did that tour where they kind of played like Dairy Queens, or like
they got a couple shows shut down because they just showed up and plugged in
and played. Right.
Love it.
That's these guys. So like he took this whole thing, and you know, they showed up for house parties and played like a house party and shit like that. So they took this kind of concept of doing this, and we're like, well, what if we, you know, put this thing in there? And there's like, if you go to the website, there's all these past shows that are on there, and there's like a Tulsa homecoming and like a Nashville backyard, and like, and you think of like venues and stuff, and you're like, oh my god, wait, this is just someone's house that they're playing in. But it's like these really cool things where you could book a smaller band or a smaller performer and be like, I could get 75 people in my house or whatever to do this show. And they're like,
in my backyard. I got a big backyard.
And they're like, I'll come play that. You know what I mean? So it's really bringing music to the people on that lower level. And I think it's so cool. And I think it's one of those really cool ways of using social media and the internet and technology to connect.
And artists get guaranteed money that way. I'm going to give you $1,000 to come play. Right. Come play, and you can play for the door, and hopefully you get $5 ahead and can have $300. You know,
and the venue, whatever venue that might be, knows what's coming, knows the capacity, knows who's coming.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing, and apparently that house party tour made it such a kind of a viable way for them to not only keep going but get creative, because I saw they're writing again. You know, it seems to have really revived something beyond even those shows. I love that. And actually, you know, a lot of my friends and I still talk about the house parties that were going on just after the major COVID restrictions were lifted, and how amazing it was. We had these experiences, and they stand out so much for different reasons. But there is something really cool about that kind of environment.
Well, I saw this thing the other day about how kids today will never get to experience a house party again when the parents went away for the weekend.
Not in the same way.
Because there's cameras and everything, and how much of a loss it is. And the things that you learned crisis management, you know, you learned how to clean a carpet. you know, and you had that carpet looking better, and your parents would even be like, "Did you clean the house?" And you'd be like, "Oh yeah, Mom, I just wanted."
But then they find like that one cigarette butt and be like, "Did you have a party?"
Oh
I don't
man.
even know where that came from.
They'll never know the joys.
Yeah.
All right.
Seriously,
Although-
and I just saw. Sorry, man, to interrupt you.
Yes,
But I just saw a thing about that, Kev, where another one of those. It got the other problem, Kev, is like social media, right? Like you can't have a party because someone posts it, like, "Oh, hey, Tom's having a party this weekend." Boom, it blows up. That's what just happened again somewhere. Like this, cops were called. Like this whole thing blew up way out of control. Way too many people showed up for this party, and it was a lot. I was like, oh, I haven't read something like that in so long. It almost felt nostalgic though to even see
It
it.
is
Like,
nostalgic.
it still happens.
So many
every
great
once in a
80s
great while.
movies. Every 80s movie had to have a wild house party in it. That was like the central plot thing, you know? The Godfather had a
Absolutely.
wedding to start. They had a house party.
They had a
you
house
know?
party. It's so
That's
true.
hilarious.
But I think it's so cool for bands. It really gives you sort of that scene from Almost Famous, you know, where they go to the house party. But this was, I mean, imagine like, you know, being in college or high school and this band shows up, a legit band. Maybe you're fans of it already. If not, you all probably are after that show because you're like, holy shit, these guys are playing like the frat house or my backyard or my buddy's bowling alley or whatever. And you're like, this is insane. Like, hell yeah. You
And
know,
they'll
like,
do the hit. They had a hit song. They'll play
yeah.
the hit.
They totally
And-
did.
And like you said, man, it works both ways. Suddenly it spawns creativity with them, and they're like, holy shit, this is rad to be back amongst like these fans and not like dealing with the arena and the venues and the assholes and all of that shit. Like, let's just go play with fans.
It must be very freeing, I would think, to not have any of that.
Right.
I mean, you might give up a little bit on the, you know, like
Financial
tech side of
side,
things and
yeah.
finance maybe, but I think it could still be really worth it. You know,
And I
if you
think the
make-
give back from that, you sacrifice some of that for multiple gains in another area that you don't get when you're touring. You know what I mean? So it's kind of the give and take of things. But it's a really cool thing. Check it out. It's called Playhouse.band. It's very cool. And I'm hoping this sort of becomes a bigger thing and more bands, more venues, more people get into sort of these kind of things because it feels very independent rock. It feels very almost like punky. It feels very cool to like do this kind of thing. And that's what we're big fans of and enjoy that kind of thing. So good for them.
There you go. Brace yourselves.
The first thing you should bring is tickets.
Bring a tarp?
Bring a ground cover because it gets pretty wet.
Money, yes. Lots of money.
It's all about the money. All right, Warren Haynes, 2 major music events for 2027. Dreams and Songs Symphonic Experience shows. So Nashville Symphony, and they're going to do orchestral reinterpretations of his music, which, man, some of the Mule stuff, Life Before Insanity, Wandering Child, I mean, this is going to be big. This is one I totally can see. Dark, heavy, symphonic music. And the second thing is Island Exodus. So 2027 in Jamaica. Canceled, I think, this year. Yeah, canceled this year probably, or last year, and they didn't do it this year. But March 11th through 12th next year. And the March 11th and 12th is the symphony shows.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's going to be back by his band. The Warren Haynes band, the house band is what they're calling it. John Medeski, Kevin Scott, who's the bass player for Mule, Greg Osby, the saxophonist, Sandra Williams and Martina Morales on vocals, and Terrence Higgin on drums. You know, Matt Apps has not been well. So he's like taking another person. He took a step back. This time it's health. And then Island Exodus 16 is going to be Royalton Blue Waters, Montego Bay next year. John Schofield, Mo, and our boy Daniel D.
Daniel D. He's doing
let me ask you: is psychedelic cosmic country the next wave in jam bands? We're done with
Yes.
the EDM stuff.
Yes. Yes. I think it's
Seems
already
like-
we already have it. We
Yeah.
already Sturgill, Daniel leading the way. I mean, they're kicking down that door. And like I told you, Kev, I did not see the next punk rock being psychedelic cosmic country music, but here we are. Like it, and I mean, we talked about this before. Country's original roots were rebellion music, were outlaw music, like original country before it became pop country and crap. Like we get like, you know, so it makes sense that maybe this is that coming back around to that form of country. But I'm here for it because both Daniel and Sturgill blow my mind. Like I love their music, so I'm here for it.
And you got Dogs in a Pile.
I was going to say it's kind of unifying in a sense because there's still a real popular jamgrass contingent out there and always will be. That will, I really think that is just here to stay.
They like their licorice.
They sure do. And, you know, and so I think it pulls that crowd a little more easily. So to me, that's why I think it's a thing and it's going to continue to be a thing because it has a very wide net, you know? A lot of people are
there for it. That Sturgill album, my God, the man. So it's not perfect. It is so rough around the edges, but
I like that.
It's the album that we needed.
I was going to say, I think it's so wonderful for the fact of what you just said, and that's why I like it, and I so respect that. That's how they did it, and they let it be what it is. You know.
Absolutely. Yep.
You lived in Colorado a while. Did you ever make it T and Amanda's there now? Did either one of you ever make it to the Aspen Snowmass
festival?
Which is in June?
No, I have not. I've been to the Belly Up out there a bunch, but that's really all I've seen.
Yeah, the only show I ever saw in Aspen, I saw Bunny Wailer years ago play on the mountain at Aspen. It was phenomenal in the rain too. It was amazing. One of the best shows, like amazing. But that's the only time I've skied Aspen, but that was the only time I've ever seen a show up there. Yeah, I hear good things though. There and Steamboat got a pretty decent. I hear the Belly Up in Aspen. Like, I mean, they get some.
It's kind of like a rite of passage, and for bands that have so outgrown it because you know it's so tiny to be able to go there, I think it's like kick ass. It just feels really good. And if you're a fan and you get in, that's an awesome feeling too. I saw Daniel Donato there. I've seen Goose played there. Wow. Actually, a couple years back. But a bunch of bands, over time. It's fun. It's a good one.
Yeah. I know. I was talking about this with Mr. Bungle. He was he came and met me at the train station and took care of me, took me to the show, took me to a real old school mob run, had to be sub shop. Everybody in there looked a little sketch. Everybody fine. Some guy walked behind the counter and nodded, and they made him what he wanted. And
it's not a sub shop, Kev. That's a money laundering operation.
Right. I loved every minute of it.
If it's not a little suspect, what are you even doing? Why even live there?
A mama on the wall, you know. Let's make it look good. Hang up that picture of mama. You know? It was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. All right, so back to Aspen. Carl Denson, Tiny Universe playing the Family Stone. Christian McBride, who is he is their academy leader. Corey Henry and the Funk Apostles. Jimmy Vaughn, Robert Cray. I mean, and then they have the big band with Liz Wright, a tribute to Ray Brown, who was an influential jazz bassist, and who McBride will be doing that. So looks interesting. I mean,
that's great.
They call it a jazz festival, but like New Orleans, they've spread it out. Not as far as they threw the Heritage one in New Orleans, so you get everything. But this has funk, blues, soul, world music, jazz.
Actually, that's fantastic. I'm still so excited because Carl D will be one of the late nights at High Sierra this year. The late night schedule for that is looking
great. Are you excited for the new venue?
I'm pumped. And actually, everybody that I've been talking to, it's an infrastructure thing, right? It's the fact that there's Airbnbs there. You can get a lift. Like there's hotels. And we're all getting to a point where we really need that. And car camping and tent camping is awesome. But said it's going to be day 2 that everybody shows up clean, showered, having slept on a real bed. And we go, okay, yeah, we're in. This is good.
Absolutely. Makes such a difference.
I know.
All the difference.
Right. Now, this is also a walkable model festival. Let me ask you, how do you guys feel about that? You know, several venues, you can go see different things, as opposed to a big tent or single stage, multiple tent or single stage events.
I love it. Big fan.
Walk back to the
because-
hotel in between
yeah.
shows. No
I
problem.
don't know. I think it mixes it up. To me, that I like it, but I can also see where that may not be ideal for people as well.
So yeah, but
Mhm.
festivals, I think different. Yeah, Kevin knows I love the different stages. I love being able to meander around all day. I love finding like spots in the grass to just crash during. So I love the whole festival vibe. Like it's so much more fun than just a regular show or like even like a fish that like Mondegreen was fun, but it wasn't like
Dude,
a true
it was
festival to me.
too much. It was a lot.
Well,
You're
that
missing other
was
bands. I'm just missing other music though. Like I know we're all there for fish, but like I like seeing other things during the day or having things to do or other stuff going on. So yeah,
I just think in terms of the location, that's where for me, it just everything felt so. Everything was really far apart, and I want that central place in town feel, and they had that, but you had to really prepare yourself for what you were going to do and where you were going to go. Like It wasn't just I'll pop back and get the thing that I forgot. It's like, nope, you're not doing that.
exactly. Or if you had people in the other lots or like where Kev had to go to try and find
You.
yeah,
I was
to
trying
meet
to
up with
find her
her.
because we were doing at one of the little cabins. She was doing trivia.
And I was like, I think I know where I am. Right?
I got tequila drunk. I started at 10 in the morning drinking tequila. By the time I started walking to you, I was half in the bag. It was ugly. It was,
and
just
it's like
hot
an hour
and-
later, you're still walking around because it's far. Everything's far.
I ended up on all fours on the side of the road with the world spinning. I thought this was it. I was like, I'm going to die at a fucking fish festival. This is how it's going to end, really. And I walked back and made it back to everybody and just pumped myself full of water and prayed.
Yep. It's
All right,
rough, man.
let's end on Daniel D instead of me being an idiot. Eagle River Jamboree 2026, August 8th and 9th. Robert
In Eagle.
Randolph, Daniel
in
D.
Eagle, Colorado.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another Colorado. One of my most excellent times ever was in Eagle, where they have the sealed off caves, and we went caving. Went down
Nice.
in there, ate mushrooms. I told Mr. Bungle this story the other day. Went down there, ate mushrooms. Half our group freaked out and had to get out. And I like laid down on my back. You had to reach your arms back, grab the wall, pull yourself through like you were coming through a birth canal in a room bigger than my apartment. I mean, just huge, bigger than my townhouse, huge. And we just hung out in there for hours underneath the ground in a cave.
It's great.
Life-changing stuff. Anyway,
That's so
so
great,
check that
though.
out.
Yes,
Yes, that looks
and
like a
there's
good
some local bands that will be there. Dragon Deer, Runaway Grooms. It's going to be great, and I love that they are making sure to bring in bands from
Runaway Grooves.
We talked, and Eric Halberg from Dragon Deer, who's super talented, just real great people as well. So that was really nice to see that they'll be able to do that. Eagle it's not like it's that far, but it really feels like you're away from the Front Range. And so it's, even for people who live here, it's a real nice thing to get out a little bit.
And Daniel's doing what? It says ×2 and Picking on the Dead ×2. So I guess, are they playing days then or more? I mean, 2 sets, I'm assuming, or 2 shows?
They're playing each day. They'll play the 8th and 9th.
That's
so
amazing. That's perfect.
It's what I'm going with that.
A double
all right,
dose of Double D. What more could you possibly want? That's fantastic. Like, awesome.
Is volume done with scaling yet?
I don't think so. I think they're still working on it. I'll
So
find
Monday
out.
We'll be live here. We'll be live here Monday because volume. We can't do the member thing over on volume. Wednesday night, as always, we'll be doing live. Friday, we'll be back with Amanda. On Sunday coming up, just 2 days from now, we're going to debut Amanda's new show. What's that called, Amanda?
It is called To the Next Set, because that's what we want everybody to be able to get to, us and our awesome music friends.
And we're doing this differently. It's in conjunction with all that jam. We're trying to hold on to a little bit of the separate identities, but we are going to run it through volume because we like pumping the volume content up. And then we're going to run it on the All That Jam YouTube channel. So go over to volume and check it out on wook+ and become a member over there. Help us pump those numbers up.
Hey, Kev, I want you to know I just got an email that Ticketmaster has tickets going on sale today at 10 a.m. for Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
right now.
He's still touring, Kev. Like they're still gonna prop him up
Yelling that
there.
poor old man out, man.
I think it's called the Final Encores or something is the name of the tour. I can't remember. But it's
so
insane.
macabre to me when you start getting tour names like that.
He is on stage. That's going to be the next headline. Frankie Valli turns stiff on stage. He just turns into a tree.
Oh, and speaking of that, one other thing really quick before we go, Paul McCartney announced 2 shows in LA at the Fonda Theater. I put in for tickets. Like it was a whole, you got to like register for tickets. He's playing 2 shows, March 27th and 28th. The Fonda holds 1,200 people. Like it is the most. I love this.
The night before the first show, you got to sneak in the roof and hide in the rafters.
Well, they have a really cool outside roof bar up there with like a storage. I could hide up there for sure and just do that because this is like, I mean, seeing him there, we were just talking about the belly up and bigger bands playing smaller venues. This is insane. Like this is crazy. So that's fun. Very cool. Like it's fun because he just did that huge world tour in these giant stadiums, and then to come back and play a small intimate show like this, it has to be so cool to be able to do that. And like,
I watched
the doors
something
off a place like this.
I watched him playing in Grand Central the other day, like a few years back, like 2003 or 2004 on YouTube. It was so crazy. Like people just walking by and this huge crowd assembled. And all right, we're out of here. Make sure to check us out. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, even leave a bad comment if you want.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Go see some music.
What's up, dog?
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.